How are you? Sorry about that. Okay, so couple of different videos I wanted to put out this evening. I got sort of hung up with something else earlier, and now I'm kind of running behind, but let me see how far I can go. So this is very old. Well, it's about a month old. And this is concerning Tom Markle and his health issues in the Philippines in Cebu. Now, I did another video on this. I spent quite a bit of time on it. Unfortunately, I did not turn my microphone on, and there was no audio. So at first I thought it was another YouTube fluke, if you will. But at any rate, guess not. It was just me making a mistake. All right, so I have done a lot of reading on this. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say when my grandfather was probably around the same age, and he had circulatory issues. He drank, I mean, not like in excess or anything, but Irish Frenchman, tall, thin. No weight issues that I would ever remember at all. Actually, both my grandfathers were tall and thin. Okay, so at the time, I was working, but my dad was there a lot. And I was, I had about 3 spare, well, not even, just maybe a spare hour or two a day. And that time in my life, again, was so focused on my job, which was pretty big. And then I was actually looking for another job also, which I did get, but after about 9 months, I decided to go back to my old job. So, okay, so I was pretty, involved in, um, should I say my career? Okay. Is that okay to say these days, or are you called names and a feminist? But I had to pay my rent, and I had, I talk about this. We have a follower, Megan, who you guys all know, who has a little girl now, and she's married, and she moved actually probably maybe a half hour below me, tops. And that's with traffic issues and bullshit, excuse me. And, we've been around for a while here, and the winters are not really that bad right now. We did have quite a blast earlier, in November, December. And we had quite a bit of snow, quite a bit of ice. The wind was insane. We were talking 25 miles an hour coming off of Lake Michigan. I know she's pretty close to Lake Michigan right now. I'm about a half a mile, maybe. So I'm talking, difficult, just really hardcore kind of winter shit. I don't know if she's got a garage or not. I'm used to it, but okay, so that was every morning for me at like 6:45, 10 to 7, still pitch dark out, trying to catch a bus to get downtown, um, but having to wear pantyhose and a skirt and everything like that. So we're talking, okay. So we've got, our group, our main Some Girls family here moving around a bit. I noticed on my last video, you guys did some great comments. And you guys know me, and prior to my brokerage firm job, and I was working actually for a retailer in the buying. I wasn't a buyer, but I was an assistant to the head guy of a corporation that actually was sold out, but um, maybe in the early twos or something. But it was bought up by I can't remember, a Chicago company, I guess. Well, so anyway, what I'm trying to say is, prior to that, I was in nursing, a nursing assistant and LPN. I was in nursing school from graduation from high school on, which was I was 18. I took care of patients like Tom Markle. My grandfather had this issue where he had a below the knee amputation. It's also referred to as BTK. So you're either above the knee, ATK, or below the knee. You can be below the hip. Okay. So I've dealt with many amputation patients because after I got out of my sales, inside sales stuff, when I began to do outside medical device sales for a distributor where I did multiple product lines, I also, and just, for some reason, this stuff comes to you, right? And you have life going on. And then it's like, oh yeah, okay. But so aside from my grandfather's issue, and he did have a prosthesis, and my dad, took him to the doctor all the time, took him out to, get his medications and, just to get him out of the house and stuff, and to just be there for him once a week. He always went there. And then, one of the other kids or grandkids or somebody would always be there just to make sure that, my grandfather and my grandmother on my paternal side were always, we're doing okay, right? And they were spoiled. They had very loving family. So I had that going on. And then a few years down the road, not many, maybe 15 years down the road, or maybe even less than that, I was required to take quite a long course I did quite a bit with the ONP community. I sold them devices. I sold places like Hanger. I don't know what's out there anymore. Different national chains. Even, again, Obama fucked that one up too. Sort of nationalized all those. But there were ONP chains, where, patients would go and they'd have amputations and they'd have to be fitted for a leg, or they'd have to be fitted for, a foot, or, something like that. You guys know this, or, an arm. So we did work with the ONP, the orthotics and prosthetics community. And I did get my certification. I had to take a test and pay a monthly fee and all this crap. And my name was in a directory for my certification for the American Board. It was called the ABC, the American Board for Certifications of Orthotics and Prosthetics. I then took another course where I wanted to get further into it. I spent thousands of dollars, and the training and the course was, it was like I already knew all the anatomical information, but the training course itself was just not very good. And but I got my certificate from that, and then all I needed to do was take my exam, and I could have been at what they call a CPED, which is a certified pedorthist, or but that's, for molding and shaping and doing things with the foot. Okay, pedo or PEDO is to do with the foot. Okay, so we're done with that. So, I mean, I have experience in this, and I took care of multiple gangrene patients in like almost right away when I was working at the nursing home when I was 18. We would have a lot of patients who had children that didn't live nearby and just didn't give a shit about their parents. And they had gangrene in a toe, and the kids would say, it's fine, just let them go. We did not have the term do not resuscitate back then. It was used very limited. It's not like now you have someone shoving a form like that in your face and you have like Alzheimer's or something and dementia, and you're in the middle of like a fever where you're having delusions, and they're trying to shove these forms in your face, which my mom had actually, because we sent her brain to a lab at Mayo Clinic, and I'm just getting the results back now. It's been 7 months and they're being mailed to me now. And my brother he actually requested it sent to him because he knew I'd like go crazy, and he had to kind of like prepare me. Well, he had to read it to me. He said, I don't understand any of this. I said, I do. I said, just name one word. And I said, okay. I said, name one more. And I said, okay. And I tried to explain to him what it was. And so it was pretty bad. But so you would have patients that would self-amputate and live. And the nurses would be in there, being excited about it. Hey, this one's going to be okay. And the doctor might put them on antibiotics or something. Because obviously you're going to get a septic infection. And if you do not get that under control, you die. Now, I'm a recent sufferer of sepsis from a abscess that was developed after I had an operation. They wanted to do some sort of test on my heart with some scope and putting it through my throat and running around my heart. I said, you're not doing that. I said, oh, I said, no way. And that was fun. That was 3 days of me saying, no, I'm not doing it. I said, you can't force me to have that procedure. It's not happening. I'm not doing it. So, you can also become confused if you have sepsis. You can have memory loss if you have sepsis. You can have brain damage if you have sepsis. You can have something called post-sepsis syndrome, which is kind of new, and stuff like that. I mean, so he probably obviously had an infection, or he would not have had gangrene. But so we would have, gangrene patients where, their legs needed to come off, and it was pretty yucky, and they would eventually die. But then we'd have others that would just like lose a toe and, and they'd be okay. So I used to do a lot of surgical procedures with doctors, and they would amputate, and you'd go in, the hospital, and you'd look at the board and it would say amputation, right great toe, left foot. So this is something I've seen a lot. And, when I worked with foot surgeons and, I did cadaver labs at the New York College of Podiatric Medicine. So I understand the terminology, and I understand things here that the average person, I know there are a lot of nurses out there, and I don't know if they're listening to my channel. I know a few have, but this is stuff I'm familiar with. So when I've read this, and I've gone over this more than once, some of this is, as usual with this dude, is not adding up for me. It's just not adding up. First of all, okay, so I'll go over it. So let's just think about it, talk about it, and just put your comments down and let's have a conversation about it because I'm a little confused, but okay. See me one more time before I die. Thomas Markle issues desperate plea to Megan from hospital bed. That's great. I'm sorry. And says Duchess hasn't called him after life or death leg amputation. Well, okay. So you've been in the hospital a gazillion times already. Well, okay, at least a couple times. And I'm not even going to tell you. You guys know what I think about this shit. It's on one of my channels. I mean, a lot of this stuff seems a little weird. In addition to that, if I was dying of an infection to the point where my leg or toe or foot or whatever had gangrene and was turning black and needed to come off, I'm going to go ahead and say this guy must have been so ill. I mean, he obviously had some sort of an infection going on in his body. Now, I'm saying this. I mean, maybe it wasn't diagnosed. Maybe it's not in the article, but he must have had. I mean, you have to have had some sort of blood poisoning, some sort of problem that led to it. Osteomyelitis, which is an infection of the bone. I mean, something had to have been going on, and he did not seek medical attention quickly enough. Medicare would not have covered that procedure in the Philippines. One of the things that this is sort of where we start picking shit apart. If he says he is as ill as what he has said, why did he choose to leave Mexico, which probably has better healthcare than the U.S.? He is right near major hospital systems in California. Which I've heard kind of aren't the greatest anyway, but really, honestly, nothing in the U.S. is in the hospital. What I've seen. I mean, for me, when I spent, pretty much almost 4 months, and I was so hyper aware of everything that, people didn't even want to come in the room anymore. It's just, I just flat out would tell them yes or no. And I would deny medications. I would deny different, tests that I thought were too invasive. I just, no. I just said no. I mean, I knew my body. I could feel what was going on. But also when you're sick and you're on pain meds and shit like that, you really kind of, you're a little out of it and you don't know what you're doing. But if Tom was having all these cardiac issues, obviously needed to be on meds, and stuff like that. And from everyone said, he had a stroke, he had heart attack. He should have had, regular cardiology appointments and medications that I'm going to make the assumption were quite expensive. Now, I also make the assumption that he worked for PBS. He won more than one Emmy. Okay. He had money somewhere. And his whole shtick on I'm a poor old man with nothing, I don't buy it. He lived in Mexico in an absolutely gorgeous resort town that's actually quite exclusive. And many boomer, I think he was born in 1944, so he's not technically a boomer, but many older Americans, and I'm going to go ahead and assume from other countries, retire in Mexico because they're, it can be pleasant. The cost of living is much lower. You're going to get better food. I mean, I just had to buy some tomatoes at the organic co-op where I shop it said, product of Mexico on them, and they were delicious. They don't spray it with all kinds of, well, maybe they do, but the stuff I buy isn't, or supposedly it's not supposed to be. Okay, so so there is all that. So he also worked for the Screen Actors Guild, right? He was a lighting director, and I'm assuming retired. And he has to have some insurance that would have covered this. But on the other hand, if he was so sick to begin with, as we've heard he has been, why would he move to a country that would not cover his healthcare costs? I've already looked that up on Grok and all that shit. I'm not going to pull it up again. It's actually somewhere on my tabs. So, that would be like something that I would think of like right now. Actually, in many cases, you can get better health care, but you have to make sure that you can pay for it. And, okay. So we have that question mark. Why would the poor man with nothing, he had the money to finance an overseas trip to live in Cebu, Philippines, because he was looking for a kinder country to live in? I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and say I think it's weird. Okay? But everything to do with this guy, I think, is weird. This looks like CGI too. The more I look at some of these pictures, I mean, what is with her face here? Her face looks manipulated. Everything is just weird with these people. Frankly, he doesn't really look that much different except he has gray hair. No. They didn't bother to clean him up or help shave him, which should, why this doesn't happen in nursing or hospital settings anymore is sort of beyond me. I don't understand. I did look up UC Med, and it is the University of Cebu in the Philippines, because I don't trust anything to do with these people. Now, it looks like he has a gown placed over him, but not on him. All he would have had to do is have an aide tie that. There are generally snaps there for all the IVs and stuff. But there is something else I saw. I mean, I'm not seeing anything but a close crop shot with the logo of a hospital in the Philippines on there. Oh, I know you guys are probably pissed off at me already. And his hair looks a mess. But unfortunately, he looks a mess most of the time. And, he's not taking care of his health, and he decides to move overseas. This makes no sense to me. He had the money to do this. I mean, he's got to have his stuff in storage somewhere. Why? Again, none of this stuff makes sense, and I think what upsets me is it is reported as the truth, which in so many cases right now, almost everything we're getting is getting weirder and weirder, and it's reported as the truth. No one questions it. No one researches it. There've got to be people in the Philippines that could or would have wanted to interview them, especially YouTubers, for money. You every time well, I don't watch this show anymore, but I have watched 90 Day Fiance. I mean, I haven't in years, just because it just got so stupid. It's just not, when it gets too ridiculous, I can't cope with it. And it just got too dumb. So we go, Meghan Markle's desperately ill father sent a heartfelt message to his daughter. I don't want to die estranged. Well, I guess you're still alive. Eventually you're going to die. And she has made zero attempt to communicate with you. And you probably, I'm going to make the assumption, are being treated for infection. I don't know. Okay. And you had reportedly an extremely serious operation. Nothing to joke around about. You have a terrible circulatory system, which is going to give out eventually, unfortunately. Somehow you've managed to keep going. I mean, he doesn't look sick. And it does not appear that he's lost any weight. It looks to me like he's actually gained weight. I don't know how he is going to hold his body up. And function, except if he's in a wheelchair and is in some nursing home somewhere. And honestly, that is extremely expensive. So I don't know. How the hell is he going to pay for this? He's going to have to come back here and have his Medicare tab pick it up. He's going to need full skilled nursing. For some period of time, I'm assuming you don't just get to have an amputation and you're that size. You need to learn how to walk and do your activities of daily living. You need to be in a proper facility where you can, I mean, he's a hugely obese man. You need to have the type of bathroom set up, the type of kitchen set up. Now I'm speaking from someone that was on crutches, but it took me a fairly long. I kept having to go back in, but I learned how I had an occupational therapist work with me to go from one shower chair. I set my place up so that I put one shower chair outside the tub because, you'd have to walk in. And then I practiced every day, many times a day, taking my body and lifting it up and moving it to the other seat, and then taking my arms and lifting my legs over. And yeah, there were many times where I almost fell. But, when I got back, I was only at about 122, Tom. And he's at about 310, 322. I mean, he should have lost weight if he's that sick, because my weight just went boom. Like I kept losing like every week, every day, really, So, and I hated, looking at myself, and I wouldn't even let anyone see me naked. If they walked in, I'd just say, get out of here. But I want to do this. I'm like, close the door, get out and shut the door. And even once I finally said to one of them, I said, get the hell away from me. Get out of here. They were trying to bill me, for a therapy session. I'm like, I don't need you. I do everything on my own anyway. You sit me in a chair and you tell me to take a 5-pound weight and you want to come in and say you're helping me with ADLs when I've already taken my own shower. I told the nurse, I just went right in and I said, there's a community shower room. I said, I'm doing my own thing. This was when they stuck me in a nursing home for a few weeks, which I checked myself out of. I said, I'm out of here. I said, I am getting the hell out of here. Called my doctor and asked her to discharge me. Not joking. So, yeah, I mean, I know what I'm doing. So with Tom, and that's because I was sick with an infection, with MRSA and sepsis. So, whatever, this guy, I don't know what's going on with him. Okay. Um, but he has good color. He hasn't lost weight. His expressions are animated. And he's well enough to have a reporter come in and have someone take pictures of him. Is Backgrid around? I'm very curious. I don't know what this blue paper thing is behind him, but I don't see any monitors that would indicate he's in a hospital. Oh, I know. You guys are going to be pissed at me. Okay, so he appealed to the Duchess of Sussex. So he goes to the Daily Mail to get in touch with his daughter. Well, that's the only way that she might hear him. Oh, come on. He knows how to get a hold of her. Come see me one more time before I die. Well, who on earth would take care of her children or manage her brand? Which is Prince Harry, because he might actually get off of his leash for 5 minutes. All right. So let's keep going. Oh, wait a minute. He lay in his hospital bed following the amputation of his left leg below the knee. So that's a BTK. He told the Mail on Sunday that he also dreamed of seeing his son-in-law, Prince Harry. Why? I mean, they've ignored you for like what? Let's see, it's 2026 now. Since her 3 dates in 2018 or 2017-18. I mean, why? It's not even emotionally stable for him to even do this. I mean, maybe he's got dementia. He told the Mail on Sunday that he also dreamed of seeing, who's his emergency contact, Meghan? Harry and his grandchildren, Archie, 6, and Lilibet, 4, before it's too late. Now, it is too late. Well, it's too soon because they don't exist. So you can go ahead and wish all you want, schmarkles. He underwent the drastic but life-saving surgery in a Philippines hospital. Well, it looks to me like he's at the University of Cebu Hospital. I already looked it up. On Wednesday. Now, this was back a month ago in December. One of his doctors told this newspaper, with his patient's express permission. Well, what the fuck does that mean? I mean, how about a physician who acted as spokesperson for Mr. Markle? But he had the expressed permission of this newspaper, or of his patient. Now, does that sound? We've got to pick this apart. Doesn't that sound weird? Or are you guys just like, no, it doesn't sound weird? Well, it sounds weird to me. It doesn't sound right. It sounds like he's trying to get her attention and using sentences that might make her feel that. I mean, all he needs to do is say, hey, I give you permission to talk about me to whoever the hell you want and or the whole world. I mean, you can sign a form, I'm sure. Just, yeah, you can talk to whoever you want about me. And please do, because I want everyone to know. And now the whole world does, Tom. because you're such an attention grabber. And I will tell you people here in the Some Girls Nation here, if you're still out there, that I come on this platform a couple times, maybe after I took a Demerol or something, or Dilaudid. I think one time. I know not to do it, because because no one wants to hear that shit. Number one. And number two, I didn't want people to suddenly feel sorry for me. I didn't, I was in the middle of a criminal trial. I didn't want that damaged, which, whatever. I'm still in the middle of all this other stuff, which I really, at this point, I'm so fed up with the whole situation. Because there were so few people around. It's like, okay. So it's like, I don't even does anyone care? Well, or want to really, I don't know. This guy is really obsessed with speaking about himself, how sick he was and how sick he is, and how much he wants to see Archie 6 and Lilibet 4. And he wants to meet Prince Harry. And a few years ago, before one of his supposed strokes, heart attacks, whatever, that was going to totally devastate him, yet he managed to pack all his shit up and move overseas because, his life was under so much danger. Someone that has a lot of health problems and is really sick doesn't move around. Now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I was going to leave where I am right now. I had put in my 60-day notice, and I had to rescind it from the hospital. And I remembered to do it. I got a social worker in there. I said, I need a social worker in here. I called up my landlord, or the company that runs, which is just a small family-run company, but owns, quite a bit of property here. And I said, listen, I've got a problem. And they were so nice, and they were so helpful. And it was just never a problem. I got a bunch of forms faxed. I signed everything, and that was that. You don't take on overseas moves or moves anywhere, even from Mexico to the US, if you're sick and you have a lot of health problems. It's just not smart. It's not something someone does normally. Now, he's got people helping him. I was, all by myself, but by choice. Okay. So, I had someone help me a couple of times buy groceries. 4 times to be exact. And then I just made up my mind that I was going to figure out how to do it on my own. And it was not easy, but I did. And, it's just, I've actually kind of blanked that out. But you don't take on major shit like this if you're dealing with all these major problems and you're getting ready to die and you just want to see your granddaughter one more time. But instead of moving closer to her, you move to the fucking Philippines. Do you think that was going to help your move or your relationship? I think I'll move to Cebu. I want to be around nicer people. Then he allegedly is in the hospital again there, this time having shit amputated. Are you guys saying I think he might be making it up? I don't know. Let's continue. So, the express permission. Okay. So he gave the surgeon permission to speak to the entire world. We don't have that surgeon's name. There aren't I don't know how many surgeons there are at the University of Cebu who do amputations. It would be someone that deals with, cardiovascular shit. A vascular surgeon, you have to tie off those blood vessels and make sure you can restore blood flow so you don't die. So I'm going to go ahead and assume some sort of specialty vascular surgeon. Basically, you saw the thing off and you close the vessels off, and that's it. I probably had a longer surgery than he did. Sorry, I don't mean to be blunt. I don't mean to diminish the pain, the suffering. And it's a lot. I mean, because picture, having someone saw your body part off. That's not a picnic. But he doesn't look sick. He looks normal and his color is quite good. And when I began to get really sick, I knew I looked bad. I couldn't, it was before I was diagnosed with the infection that I had. And after my accident, and it was just like, I just, was really kind of horrified with it. And, I had clothes and I would put them on and they would fall off. So yeah, Tom does not look sick. Just saying. So apparently he had his leg amputated below the knee, but then with express permission of Tom Markle, one of the doctors, like, I don't know how many he has, but he's going to have like one main surgeon, and then they're going to do rounds and switch off once a week. I don't know how they do it in the Philippines. I would assume it's pretty similar to here. He's not going to have, I hate to be blunt, but that's what it is. You saw the fucking thing off. That's it. And you do follow-up care. Is he going to move again overseas or what? I see what I'm saying. I mean, the last thing on earth I thought of was moving because I wanted to work on my health. Okay. And get me back, my head back, my life back. Because this shit does a number on your head too. It stresses you out beyond words. The surgery was a matter of life or death. And the doctor had his patient's permission to say that because it sounded better coming from the doctor, and then Megan might listen and Harry might fly over to the Philippines during one of his little girly gaggle attacks, where he's laughing like a woman and he's even behaving like one. I think he's getting hypnotized. I don't know. There's something wrong with him. Excuse me. The surgeon said, okay, so up here, it says he had a below-the-knee leg amputation. Here, with the express permission of Tom, the surgeon said we had to remove the foot. There was a massive blood clot in his thigh. Okay. Yeah, that's going to kill you. Well, unless you break it up and take means to, via medications and things like that. And, okay, remove it, move the clot. Okay, it says we had to remove the foot. But, okay, so let's keep reading. There was a massive blood clot in his thigh, and it had stopped circulation to his foot and lower leg. Okay. So he should have already been on blood thinning medication to begin with all of his other shit, with his stroke, with this, with that, with the other. So was he taking medication? Was he not taking medication? Was he intentionally not taking it because he forgot to take it? Where was his son? Because if you're going to have a massive blood clot in your thigh, let me tell you something. It's going to be red, warm, and you're going to have a shit ton of pain. And it's going to be swollen. And the skin could start to break open. So when these symptoms were developing, where was that son Tom of his? Just curious. Who was watching him? I see what I'm saying. This is just this one. And when did he get his speech back from this massive stroke? Because let me tell you something, Tom. After what happened to me as a pedestrian, being hit and I guess run over by a truck, based on my injuries, rolling over my foot and my pelvis and all that. I mean, I'm still trying to walk again. I am walking. I look pretty weird. People who don't know me think I'm drunk or on drugs. But that's my main thing, is trying to get that ambulation back, Tom. And it has been over 2 years. So I wouldn't think about like running out to the Philippines and packing up my house and all that shit if I want to rebuild my relationship with my family. Because he has grandchildren, doesn't he? Or nieces, nephews. He also has State Department ties, doesn't he? So does Megan. Yeah. Oh, no, there's no coincidence there. No, she just interned there. Oh, okay. Sure. Okay. Like I said, I have to look at every angle of this because we are talking about the British fucking royal family. Okay? This new person that's supposed to take over for the president, Maduro, down in Venezuela, also has ties to the British royal family. You see what I'm saying? So, actually, so does Tom Markle. So, what is going on here, Tom Markle? You could concoct anything you want, couldn't you? First, it's below the knee, then it's the foot. What is it? And please make sure you give your doctor permission. I mean, why don't you release your nursing notes while you're at it? I mean, I'm sorry. I would never want anyone to know anything to do with my personal health ever. It's private. And are people really interested in this or what? Or are they just interested in it to lay, some shit on that weirdo? I thought she was like trying to be Isabella Rossellini for a few short moments when I looked at those pictures, because she removed her weave for those, for Vanity Fair. She removed her weave. And if she just took better care of herself and stopped with the plastic surgery and shit like that, she could be so pretty. And actually, I think that a shorter hairstyle on her, and she could put her weave in every now and then, would be really cool looking. It would look very slick. But she has to compete with Kate. Okay. I mean, honestly, I like my hair sort of chin length or a little bit longer. You think you can, it's hard, sometimes can be hard to style, but actually it can look pretty cute with certain types of clothing and accessories and earrings and stuff like that. I mean, it can look much better than longer hair. Now, people have different opinions on that. That's my opinion. That's me personally. Um, you know, so there you go. I'm done with the hair stuff. But okay. So now I'm kind of going off. Okay. Okay. So then the surgeon, okay, we're going to go over this again. The surgeon said we had to remove the foot. Okay. But up here it says he had a amputation of his left leg below the knee. I suppose that could be the foot. It was life or death surgery. Well, okay, that's true. He had the infection in the foot and it moved, and had the infection in his foot moved to the heart, it would have most likely have been fatal. Yes, it would have been. He is doing well, but he is not out of the woods yet. Mr. Markle told the newspaper that he was confused by widespread reports that his daughter had reached out to contact him following his serious health scare. Another one. But he looks okay, though. He's got good color. Now, there's something else I wanted to show you guys. What are we looking at here? One, two, three, four, five different lines going to something. The black one on top is going to something. We can't see it, but these are in a knot. This would make whatever it's connected to go off and not stop. And if the nurse doesn't get in there quick enough, I mean, that thing will go for an hour. When I used to get IV antibiotic medication at this place they put me in my PICC line, they would let it go for an hour and then let it beep for an hour. So finally, I would get a walker, get myself out of bed, turn the fucking thing off myself, and unplug it, and learn how to use the controls, and I go back to bed. So, but what's happening here is whatever he's connected to, it's not making it to whatever is going on here. Whether this is not a medical hospital procedure. And why he's got this just laid over him, I don't know. Maybe it's uncomfortable. But all you need to do is untie that and put it around the patient's neck or put it up over his shoulders. So if this is supposed to add drama, okay. Are you guys seeing this? It looks like a gown that was just placed over him because it's not wrinkled, it's not dirty. It looks actually nicer than any hospital gown I would see here in a United States hospital. The hospital in New York was really good. Maybe it's just Wisconsin. Just saying. Because I would end up just taking a fucking wheelchair to get my own damn linens. This is what I'm saying. But I needed to be hospitalized technically. Because if I didn't have what I was having, the medications, etc., I would have died, Tom. See, you're not the only person out there. And I don't see a PICC line. I don't see anything going on there. It would be in your arm, dear. Okay? It'd be a steel tube in your arm. I'm not seeing that. what's going on here? But this is not anything that's functioning. It is a bunch of lines. I have no idea what they are there for, but they are tied in a knot and are non-functional. So I don't see anything that would alarm me. Oh, we get to look at this picture again. Now, I'm going to ask you guys, when you look at his face and his big, huge nose and all that shit, okay, in this picture in 2011, and look at him scraggly here in the bed, does he look really all that much different? Just wondering. No one in this family knows the term of iron, IORN, or to iron something. Oh my God. Or to press something, or to steam it, whatever. Is she pressing her breasts up against him just a little bit too much? Because I'll tell you this much, I would never do that to my father or anyone. I don't know. Oh, wait a minute. Thomas Markle, pictured with in 2011, has appealed to the Duchess. The ailing pensioner, we don't call it that in the US, FYI. Maybe they call it that in Cebu, but he's not. If he's ailing that much, why is he moving all over the fucking world, right? Said he purposely did not change his number after their rift. Why the hell would you change your phone number? What are you, 5? So she could all in touch with me, but she said she did not. But said he did not receive any messages from her last week. Well, let's see. Maybe she's not reading the Daily Mail. With Mr. Markle's permission, once is enough. You don't need to restate that. This newspaper independently confirmed with the hospital that neither their administration office, reception, intensive care unit, nor the nurses and doctors attending to Mr. Markle had heard from Meghan or her representatives to the best of their knowledge. Now I'm going to ask you. They went to the entire staff. Did you hear from Meghan? Did you hear from... I mean, come on. Give me a break. I mean, you're talking, it could be 50 to 100 people, depending upon what shift and how frequently they work. There could be 20 different receptionists. There could be, especially here, I'm going to tell you right now, these doctors and nurses don't know anyone, don't give a shit. They have 1 or 2 people to call on a chart, and that's it. And most of them probably don't even know who the fuck Meghan is. That's a patient there that they are caring for. That's it. That is the most ridiculous paragraph I ever read. A hospital source. Who was the source? See, this is 2026 news. A source told me, this is what I love. A source said Charlie Kirk was offered money by Netanyahu, but they turned it down. I don't believe that either. A source. Who's the source? I mean, unless you can document it and you have 3 references to that thing, it means nothing. I could say, hey, I was in the Philippines a couple weeks ago and I saw Tom myself and he's doing fine. And I'm a source. I want you to really think about this shit. Okay. wait a minute. So he has no, okay, so I did look this up on Grok. So let me stop for a second. He has no way to pay for a very expensive surgery, which included an amputation and probably $500,000 worth of bullshit, okay? A hospital source told the Mail on Sunday that Mr. Markle is a VIP patient. What? And they can't even shave him and get him cleaned up? Oh, there's a little like towel there, though, rolled up. So he's a VIP patient, but he can't pay his bill, though. Why is he a VIP patient? Nothing about this guy is VIP. So the only way he could be a VIP patient is if somebody from the British royal family or MI6 or something is paying for his surgery. Because they're not going to stick some dude with no money and no insurance to cover his costs in a VIP section of a hospital in Cebu. I'm ready to just cut this video right now. We all know who he is. If Megan or anyone connected with her had called here, we would have known. It is a big hospital by Filipino standards, but we all know each other and we all talk. It's no way. Okay, so it would have to be a small hospital because it's just not going to happen. You have too many. If you're a university hospital, which means you're connected to a college, you're going to have so many people coming in and out of here. You're going to have hundreds of different people, and no one is going to fucking remember you, believe me. And you're going to have different people every day, and you have to be able to pay for your visit if you're VIP. When you show up to that emergency room or whatever, okay. And he hasn't even been there that long. We are all confused when we saw the story that the Duchess had reached out to her dad. As far as we are aware, it didn't happen. We would love to see the Duchess here in the Philippines. Oh, no. Who said this? We love to see her. We love her. We love Mr. Markle. I doubt it. They have their own problems there. Last night, a spokesman for the Sussexes said Meghan sent her father an email on Friday. But the Mail on Sunday understands that it was to an address that he hasn't used for at least 5 years. Well, he just got done saying he hasn't changed his address and his phone number. But then he's not checking the stuff that he had 5 years ago. If you guys are falling for this shit, okay. Mr. Markle has been estranged from his daughter, who has been promoting the Christmas special of her Netflix show With Love, Meghan, which stresses the importance of family and love since her 2018 wedding to Prince Harry. You know what this is? This is a marketing / promotional tool for her Netflix shit. Because at first we hear he had a below the knee, and then we hear his foot was chopped off. Which means his thigh is still there. And we will never know if his foot is chopped off because he will have a shoe and pants on to cover it. But don't forget to watch her Netflix series, With Love, Meghan, which stresses the importance of family love since her 2018 wedding to Prince Harry. They famously fell out when he posed for paparazzi photographs ahead of the big day. A misplaced gesture he later explained was a bid to improve his image. I am going to go ahead and say I can't believe what I'm hearing. Okay? This is a bullshit article with bullshit pictures. We've had no update for a month. We don't know if the guy is really sick or not. We never will know. But this one tops them all. An amputation. And the whole hospital knows who he is because he's a VIP, but he can't pay for the visit. But he's special because he's Meghan Markle's dad, who moved to the Philippines probably about, a year ago? And he should have never, ever have taken those pictures with Batgrid. Oh. And you know what? As a person that has had serious issues and has been hospitalized, I really do take, and almost died, like more than once. I take huge issue to this and really suffered, I might add. I take so much issue with this, it's not even funny. And generally, when a patient is that sick, they turn the lights off so that they relax. He's on pain medication. He's ready to have a body part amputated. And he's got the Mail on Sunday doing shit and the entire hospital talking about him. Doubtful, guys. Doubtful. He then had 2 heart attacks and was unable to walk her down the aisle at St. George's Chapel. She didn't want him to. She disinvited him to. You see what I'm saying? So almost everything in here is fucked up, not true. What is it? And I just want to meet the Prince of Wales, the King of England, because he's incredibly kind. Just like when Meghan asked, was Harry kind? Last night, Mr. Markle remained in stable condition in an intensive care hospital in Cebu, a port city which he moved to at the start of this year in a bid to get away from the constant stories about his daughter and Harry. But all he's done is talk about them since he got there. And what are the constant stories? I mean, shit, man, I never hear about this chick. No one in the U.S. does. We're in the middle of like 10 wars right now. Give me a break. Last night, he remained in stable condition in intensive care. If you're in stable condition, they are going to move you out of intensive care. Okay? And he didn't look sick. So he moved there, and now he's in stable condition in the port of Cebu, where he moved to get away from the constant stories about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, who nobody cares about. This is just a ploy to get to talking about them again. Mr. Markle is expected to be moved to regular ward as early as tomorrow. Now, this is an old story. I have been searching and combing the internet. I've been combing Brave. I've been going through Grok. I've been going through Yandex. I don't know where the fuck he is now. But I thought he was still trying to speak again after having his stroke. And believe me, I don't care how VIP you are. If you have no medical reason to be in a hospital, you will be discharged. Especially someone that big, because they are going to have to use a Hoyer lift on him to move him. Like, I don't know how this guy is going to the toilet. He probably has had to have an enema or two by now. I mean, I am talking real shit here. He has to be on massive amounts of pain medication, Demerol, Dilaudid, morphine, oxycodone. He's probably constipated as fuck. Is he eating? I don't know. What kind of medications is he on for infection? Is he on a PIC? Is he getting follow-up MRIs to make sure there isn't an infection that spread to his bone? Does he think we are really this fucking stupid? And just because it's being reported on this rag, am I supposed to believe it? And why am I forced to look at a picture of Megan wearing a black graduation gown supposedly from a college where the color for graduation was purple and gold? Posing for a picture in his hospital bed. He said he wanted to speak out to thank all the well-wishers from around the world who have been sending a positive message for his recovery, particularly ones from Britain. I'm so grateful. I don't want to die estranged from Megan. It was a bombshell text message from my friend Thomas Markle, which stopped me dead in my tracks. I was home in Los Angeles when the Duchess of Sussex's father, I'm at home in Los Angeles and Thomas Markle contacted me. It had to be the Duchess of Sussex's father. Sent me a message at 6:30 a.m. on Wednesday, his time, saying, going to lose the leg today. But we were just told they amputated his foot. Markle, 81, who has been estranged from his youngest daughter since her 2018. So then it does the article all over. Okay, yeah, we know it turned black blue, swelled up to the point where he was in agony. Here's another picture. Okay. Now, I'm still seeing a leg here. This one's up. He looks fine. He does not look sick. His hand looks swollen. It's very swollen. But that I find to be weird too. There really isn't a reason for his hand to be swollen. He looks totally normal. I immediately rang Tung Jr., his father's primary caregiver who lives with him. Why wasn't his primary caregiver with him? And both were flabbergasted. So, okay. Including, as it happens, his youngest daughter, Megan. She and Harry live in Montecito. Again, this is more about Megan than it is about him. She's been busy promoting the Christmas special. So this is at the beginning of December. I have no explanation. Okay, you see where his hand is? It's on top of his leg. This one, he has flexed upward. What are we supposed to believe now? He looks totally normal, healthy, with good color. There's a syringe sitting on his bedside. That's not normal. I see no tray table, no telephone. I don't see anything that would indicate he's in a stay at a hospital where he should have his cell phone there, his clicker for his TV. Just sitting in a room like that, you guys, is really weird. You can't do it. Unless you're completely gone. But look at him. Okay, I know you're mad. So his primary caregiver isn't with him, and he's getting a leg amputation. I don't believe it. And then it talks about her show. And the only way Megan learned about her dad's health crisis is through the Daily Mail. And then he reached out to her through the Daily Mail. I'm always opening to reconciling with my daughter. Caroline Graham has a very close relationship. She speaks and considers him a father figure. Okay. Why do we keep hearing that he had a foot amputation from the doctor, and why are these pictures scrubbed? I mean, are these pictures here or what? Okay, so it's like 1:30. So I am unable to get any of these. Megan and her father. Okay. I don't know why I can't get these pictures though. Oh, are we okay? Let's do this. Okay. So, if anyone has these pictures, I have been trying to find them. I can't. I believe they've been scrubbed. First, it says he was going to have his leg amputated below the knee. Then the doctor, with his express permission, said they took off his foot, which we will never be able to prove. Okay. All right.